Alright, so with part 1 done and released, we will be diving into part 2, which is Matsuri versus Konohamaru. I will delve into the potential scenarios and outcomes of this matchup, which will most likely take place. Now, about this fight, I am very much certain that Konohamaru won't be alone in it. At least not for the entire fight, as there have been massive hints at Team 10's involvement in it. They were mentioned by Matsuri herself, and Konohamaru also mentioned that they together will find a way to get her back. So it's really clear as a day that they will play a big part in that fight, despite Matsuri's only target being Konohamaru. But to ease into it, let's discuss a face-off between Moegi and Konohamaru. Now, if we were to talk about that, I would say despite Moegi's ability to use wood style, I would bet on Konohamaru. I mean, she's not a straight pushover. I have Konohamaru winning by a high difficulty, and that is purely because we haven't got any feats of her in the entire Boruto manga, and Konohamaru has always been picked up to be the strongest in the team. Now, if we're talking about Matsuri, who's got Moegi's battle experience, plus 2 renegades and claw mark, it would be a hassle for Konohamaru to even land a hit against her, man. Not to mention, the Shinjus aren't just a clone of their originals with extra abilities, rather they have got massive boosts in their stats. I mentioned earlier that Konohamaru won't be landing hits, and I stand by that. I am however talking about the Konohamaru we are familiar with, not who he may be now. I mean, with a 3-year time skip, it's reasonable to expect that Konohamaru has progressed, especially considering the circumstances. I mean, his old rival, the 7th Hokage, Naruto, is no longer around. So do you think that Konohamaru would just stay like that, aware of the dangers around? I mean, there must be a greater reason to why he is the Hokage's right-hand man. Konohamaru has been absent from the scene for a while now, and they are finally giving him a significant role in the upcoming fight against the Shinju. Do you really think he's gonna go empty-handed? I'm telling you, man, Konohamaru is due for a power-up. But if he indeed does go empty-handed or falls short in terms of power, then, well, that's a GG for Konohamaru, I guess. But it's highly unlikely for that to happen, as we haven't got any spotlight from him in the entire series, and his relevance would all be from Naruto. Rather, this is about the biggest role he has had in the series, so yeah, I can't see it happening with no build-ups. Now, when it comes to power-ups, Sage Mode seems like an obvious choice considering we haven't seen him use it yet. Kishimoto might throw us off though and surprise us with a completely different power-up we wouldn't expect. But if it turns out he has mastered his Sage Mode, how do you think that would change the outcome of the fight? To be completely honest, I'm uncertain about how Sage Mode alone could combat a person of this caliber. It sure would give him more assets to work with, but I still don't think it would be enough considering their display of power in the Ten-Tails hideout. I mean, the Sage Mode does enhance physical strength, speed and sensory ability, which would come in handy for detecting when and where the claw marks are being used and act accordingly. But Sage Mode's effectiveness would totally depend on whether Matsuri has better stats than Konohamaru's Sage Mode, if that is the chosen route. But I don't want to limit the potential power-up to just Sage Mode. There could be multiple power-ups or jutsus we haven't witnessed from Konohamaru yet. Now, if it becomes a 1v1 situation, either we're gonna see what Konohamaru has been cooking up for the past 3 years, or is that we have a Sasuke situation on our hand again. But I'm not gonna delve into that, man. It doesn't look like it's gonna be a complete 1v1. Team 10 is hinted to be a part of this showdown as well. Now here we have a very different situation, as Team 10 is a very capable team, more hacks and tactical than a straightforward battle. We haven't seen them at their full power, which is also true for the Shinjus, by the way. We did see them go against the Clawgrams, and when it comes to the Clawgrams, or rather the more common, more casual Clawgrams, they are each like a stronger and bigger Zetsu with a flying ration at their disposal, as well as a massive boost in their stats as they are made from the Ten-Tails. Contrary to the Zetsu clones, they are mindless creatures who are unable to think or strategize at all, which of course is the downside for these types of Clawgrams. However, we see that the more stronger version actually possess a renegade and have the ability to think and speak. But regardless, even the normal Clawgrams would still demolish Zetsu clones with ease. As far as feats go, that from Team 10 is not a big accomplishment in the series, but they do seem to be the strongest team after Team 7, and the other teams have yet to be shown in part 2 of Boruto. I don't see it necessary to rank the Konohamaru we know, as it's not much of a feat in the power scaling I showcased. It most certainly would be lower than Jigen and even Sarada by a lot. When it comes to Matsuri, however, I would easily put her above the Bug Shinju for reasons mentioned in part 1, and with Moegi being weaker than Sasuke, it wouldn't make make sense for the Shinju clones to be any different. Therefore, I would put Moegi under Hidari but above Bug, leaving her between 7 and 8. Now to conclude this part, I see 3 possible outcomes from this fight. One being a self-sacrifice from Konohamaru to maybe save Team 10 during the clash. 2 being a big power-up from Konohamaru, enabling him to defeat Matsuri, an Ishiki level threat. Or what I see as a more likely outcome is a third party. That third party could possibly be Team 10, who with their strategy, plot and hacks could defeat Matsuri or immobilize her. A third party, or maybe even a fourth, could be the characters who aren't already a target. This would consist of Boruto, but if you have watched part 1, you would know that we cannot use him for this scenario. Now, a person who is capable to stand against Jigen level opponents, someone who you may have forgotten, that is Delta. Alright man, that's it for part 2 of the Shinjus and their targets. Part 3 may be postponed a bit, but look out for man. Cause I'm not gonna lie man, I've been kinda in the lab with the Shinju target videos. But yeah man, thank you for watching and take care.